The gun was hidden under their bed the whole time. She didn't know. He couldn't tell her. Their daughter was crying down the hall. Bullets tore through their Seoul apartment at 2 a.m. Adanna, a Nigerian nurse who thought she'd escaped the crime world, was crawling through broken glass in bare feet. Blood everywhere. Her husband firing back with the weapon she thought he'd destroyed. He lied about leaving that life. She believed peace was possible. Their 5-year-old asked, "Is Daddy a bad man?" 12 witnesses dead in 3 weeks. They were next. The statute of limitations is expiring. If they kill you, hundreds of criminals walk free. But what they didn't know was worse. This wasn't about testimony. This was about a 30-year-old betrayal, a debt between Korea and Japan. And their daughter was the price. She made a call she swore she'd never make. Your daughter's blood is the only thing that can settle this. What happened next changed everything. Mommy, is Daddy a bad man? The question every mother dreads. But when your husband is heir to Korea's most dangerous crime family, and you're a Nigerian nurse who thought love could change him, the answer might get you all killed. 3 years ago, Adanna married into the Kang Empire. She thought testifying against them would end it. She was wrong. Now someone's hunting everyone who betrayed the family. 12 dead. Her family is next. And the only person who can save them? The monster-in-law who once put a gun to her head. This is the story of how a cross-cultural love became a death sentence, and how a mother will do anything, even make a deal with the devil to protect her child. But to understand how we got to that phone call, to that impossible choice, to that moment when Adanna had to decide between her daughter's life and her soul, you need to know what happened the night everything exploded. Let me take you back. To 3 years of peace that was really just 3 years of waiting. To the phone call that shattered everything. To the moment Adanna realized her husband had been lying to her all along. It started with a phone call at 2 a.m. Jihoon's phone lighting up the dark bedroom, an unknown number. He answered in Korean, his voice groggy, then suddenly sharp, awake, alert, dangerous. Adanna sat up. "What's wrong?" He was already out of bed, pulling on clothes. "I have to go." "Jihoon, talk to me." He turned, his face a mask she hadn't seen in years, the face he wore when he was still part of the criminal world. "My uncle is dead, murdered. They found him in the Han River with his throat cut." Her blood went cold. "Which uncle?" "Uncle Taesung, my father's brother, the one who took over the family business after my mother went to prison." He was strapping on a watch, checking his phone, moving with military precision. "The business I thought was dismantled. Apparently it wasn't." "What does this mean?" He looked at her, and she saw fear in his eyes. Real, primal fear. "It means someone is killing off the Kang family. And we might be next." Before she could respond, their apartment window exploded. Glass everywhere. Adanna screamed, and Jihoon threw himself over her, covering her body with his, as bullets tore through their bedroom. The sound was deafening. Amara was crying from her room down the hall. "Stay down!" Jihoon yelled. He crawled across the floor, grabbed something from under the bed. A gun. Adanna's heart stopped. "I thought you got rid of all the guns." "I lied." He checked the magazine with practiced ease. "I knew this day might come." More gunfire. Someone was shooting from the building across the street. Jihoon fired back, his aim steady, his face calm. Like he'd never left this life. Like the past 3 years of normalcy had been the lie, and this violence was his truth. "We need to get to Amara," Adanna said, crawling toward the door. "Wait." But she was already moving. A mother's instinct overriding fear. She reached the hallway just as their front door exploded inward. Men in black masks poured in. Adanna screamed, and Jihoon came out of the bedroom firing. Bodies dropped, blood sprayed across their family photos on the wall. Jihoon grabbed Amara from her room, holding their crying daughter against his chest while still firing with his other hand. "The fire escape! Now!" They ran. Adanna's bare feet on broken glass, blood trailing behind her. Down the fire escape, the metal cold and wet from rain. Behind them, more gunfire. Men shouting in Korean. The night air full of violence. They reached the alley just as a black van screeched up. The door slid open, and Detective Park was inside. "Get in! Now!" They dove in, and the van peeled out as bullets pinged off the metal. Amara was sobbing. Adanna was shaking so hard her teeth chattered. And Jihoon was on the phone speaking rapid Korean, his voice deadly calm, while his hands still held the gun. "What the hell is happening?" Adanna demanded when he hung up. Detective Park answered from the driver's seat. 3 months ago, we got intel that remnants of the Kang organization were rebuilding. Your husband's testimony destroyed the leadership, but the foot soldiers never forgot. Never forgave. They've been waiting, planning, consolidating power, and now they're executing everyone who betrayed the family. Jihoon testified years ago. Why now? Because the statute of limitations on certain crimes is expiring, Detective Park said. If they kill the witnesses before the trials conclude, those cases die with them. Jihoon's testimony is the linchpin for 57 active cases. Without him, hundreds of criminals walk free. Adanna looked at her husband, blood on his shirt, gun in his lap. Their daughter crying in his arms. You said it was over. You promised we were safe. I thought we were, Jihoon said, his voice breaking. I thought I'd destroyed them completely. You can't destroy evil, Mr. Kang, Detective Park said. You can only push it back into the shadows. And shadows always return. They drove to a safe house outside Seoul, a compound in the mountains surrounded by police. Inside, Adanna cleaned Amara's face, while Jihoon paced like a caged animal. Other people were there. Jihoon's cousin, Minjun, with his wife. An aunt Adanna had met once. All witnesses against the family. All targets. How many are dead? Minjun asked Detective Park. 12 so far. Your uncle Taesung, his accountant, 3 lawyers who handled family finances, 2 judges who took bribes, and 5 witnesses, like yourselves. Oh my God, Adanna whispered. She looked at Jihoon. Your mother, is she safe? Detective Park confirmed. She's in protective custody at an undisclosed location. Why protect her? Jihoon's voice was ice. She started this whole mess. Because she has information about offshore accounts that could still dismantle what's left of the organization. And because, believe it or not, she asked specifically about your safety. Jihoon laughed bitterly. My mother asking about my safety. That's rich. Amara tugged on Adanna's sleeve. Mommy, why are the bad men shooting at us? Adanna's heart shattered. How do you explain this to a 5-year-old? How do you tell your daughter that her father's past is trying to kill her present? Baby, there are some confused people who are angry at Daddy, but we're safe now. The police are protecting us. Is Daddy a bad man? The room went silent. Everyone staring. Jihoon's face crumbled. No, baby, Adanna said firmly. Your daddy made some mistakes before you were born, but he's a good man who's trying to make things right, and the people who are angry are the actual bad men. Daddy is a hero. Jihoon looked at her with such raw gratitude, it physically hurt. But Amara wasn't done. If Daddy's a hero, why is he scared? Kids see everything. Jihoon knelt in front of his daughter. I'm scared because I love you and Mommy more than anything in the world. And the thought of bad people hurting you makes me more afraid than I've ever been. But I promise you, Amara, I will protect you. No matter what. That night, Adanna couldn't sleep. She stood at the window watching armed guards patrol the perimeter. Jihoon came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry I brought this back into our lives. It never left, did it? She turned in his arms. You've been carrying this weight every single day, waiting for it to come back. Every time I looked at you and Amara sleeping peacefully, I prayed this day would never come. I prayed I'd killed the monster completely. But you can't kill a hydra. Cut off one head, 2 more grow back. So what do we do? His eyes went dark. I finish what I started. I burn it all down, every last root. How? By giving them what they want, me. Absolutely not. Adanna grabbed his face. You are not sacrificing yourself. If I turn myself in, if I become the bait. No, we'll find another way. There is no other way. They'll keep coming, keep killing, until they get to me. At least this way, I control the battlefield. And what happens to Amara? What happens to me? We just live without you? You live. That's all that matters. She slapped him. Hard. The sound echoed through the room. Don't you dare martyr yourself. Don't you dare take away my choice. We survived your mother. We'll survive this. He pulled her close, his body shaking. I can't lose you. I can't watch them hurt you. I'd rather die than see that. Then we die together. Or we live together. But we don't split up. Not now. Not ever. They held each other as dawn broke over the mountains, both knowing that promises made in the dark are hard to keep in the light. The next day, Detective Park gathered everyone. We have a plan. We're going to draw them out. Set a trap. Using who as bait? Minjun asked. All of you. We leak that you're being moved to a new safe house. They'll attack during the transfer. And we'll be waiting. You want to use my family as target practice? Jihoon stood. Absolutely not. It's the only way to end this. We either catch them in the act, or you all spend the rest of your lives looking over your shoulders. I vote we run, Jihoon's aunt said. Leave Korea. Start over somewhere they can't find us. They found Uncle Tae-sung in Singapore, Minjun said quietly. Found the accountant in Los Angeles. They have international reach. There's nowhere far enough. Adanna listened to them argue, watched grown adults scared for their lives, saw her daughter playing with toys in the corner, oblivious to the danger, and something hardened inside her. She'd spent years being the victim, the threatened one, the protected one, but she was Nigerian. She was raised by a woman who fought for everything. She was done being prey. I have an idea, she said. Everyone turned to her. What if we don't run or hide? What if we expose them? Make it impossible for them to hide. How? Detective Park asked. Jihoon's testimony is sealed, right? The trials are closed to protect witnesses, so the public has no idea what the Kang family actually did. What if we go public? Tell the whole story. Make them too visible to move in shadows. The media would tear us apart, Jihoon said. Maybe. Or maybe the public would protect us. These people are killing witnesses, judges, lawyers. That's not just a crime family issue. That's a threat to the entire justice system. Make it a national story. Make us too famous to kill quietly. Detective Park considered this. It's risky. You'd be exposing your daughter to scrutiny, to racist backlash, to... She's already in danger, Adanna interrupted. At least this way we control the narrative. They debated for hours, but ultimately, desperation won. 3 days later, Adanna and Jihoon sat down for a televised interview with Korea's biggest news program. No masks, no pseudonyms, full exposure. The interviewer, a woman named Ms. Lee, looked at them with a mix of sympathy and ambition. Mr. Kang, you testified against your own family's criminal empire. Why? Because I fell in love with a woman who showed me that honor isn't about family loyalty. It's about doing what's right, even when it costs everything. The camera panned to Adanna. Mrs. Kang, you're Nigerian. You married into one of Korea's most notorious crime families. Why stay? Because I made a vow, for better or worse. And because my husband isn't defined by his family's sins, he's defined by his choices to change. And now you're both being hunted by the very organization you helped dismantle. Yes, Jihoon said. Which is why we're here. The people trying to kill us aren't just criminals. They're cowards who hide in shadows. So we're shining a light. Every viewer right now is seeing our faces, seeing our story. If we die, the world will know who killed us. And why? Ms. Lee leaned forward. Are you afraid? Adanna answered. Terrified. But I'm more afraid of teaching my daughter to live in fear than I am of the people threatening us. We're not hiding anymore. We're standing in the light. The interview went viral. International news picked it up. Nigerian woman versus Korean mafia was a headline everywhere. Social media exploded with support and hatred in equal measure. Racist comments about Adanna flooded in. But so did support. From other interracial couples, from people who'd stood up to corruption, from citizens who were tired of criminal organizations operating with impunity. The Korean government was forced to respond. They increased protection for witnesses, fast-tracked the trials, put pressure on the police to arrest the remaining Kang organization members. Adanna and Jihoon became symbols of justice, of courage, of love conquering evil. But symbols make excellent targets. 2 weeks after the interview, Adanna was grocery shopping with Amara. Armed guards nearby, but trying to be subtle. Amara was picking out fruit, her Korean Igbo accent making the vendor smile. Normal. They were trying so hard to be normal. Then Adanna felt it. Eyes on her. She turned and saw a man in a baseball cap watching them. He smiled. A cold, knowing smile. And he slowly drew his finger across his throat. Her blood turned to ice. The guards saw it too and moved in, but the man disappeared into the crowd. They searched but found nothing. When Jihoon heard about it, he lost control, punched a wall, screamed in Korean, then broke down crying. I can't protect you, he sobbed. No matter what I do, I can't keep you safe. Then we fight back, Adanna said. No more defense. We go on offense. How? We're not soldiers. No, but your mother is. Jihoon stared at her. You want to work with her? She knows this organization better than anyone. She helped build it. Maybe she can help destroy it. She put a gun to your head. And she's also Amara's grandmother. And she's been in protective custody for 3 weeks. Which means she's safe while we're hunted. That should tell you something about who they really fear. Jihoon closed his eyes. You're asking me to trust the woman who tried to kill you. I'm asking you to use every weapon we have, even the broken ones. He made the call. Mrs. Kang was brought to the safe house under heavy guard. She looked older, frailer, but her eyes were still sharp. When she saw Amara, her face softened in a way Adanna had never seen. She's gotten so big. Halmoni! Amara ran to her. Adanna had taught their daughter the Korean word for grandmother, though they'd only met a handful of times. Mrs. Kang held her granddaughter with shaking hands, tears streaming down her face. I've missed you, my little one. Can you protect her? Jihoon asked bluntly. Can you stop this? Mrs. Kang looked at her son. I can try, but it will require me to become the monster again, the one you worked so hard to put behind bars. I don't care what you have to become. I only care that my family survives. Mrs. Kang nodded slowly. Then let me make some calls. Let me remind certain people why they used to fear the Kang name. What happened next was complicated. Mrs. Kang reached out to old contacts, people who owed the family favors, people who feared her more than they feared the new leadership. She played factions against each other. She leaked information about the new leadership's weaknesses. She weaponized paranoia. Within days, the hunting stopped. Not because the threat disappeared, but because the organization fractured. Leaders started killing each other, accusing each other of being informants. The shadowy network that had seemed invincible collapsed into civil war. You started a mob war, Detective Park said, stunned, watching the reports of violence exploding across Seoul's underworld. I ended one, Mrs. Kang corrected. Now they're too busy killing each other to bother with us. How many people will die because of this? Criminals killing criminals. Better them than my family. Adanna didn't know how to feel. Grateful they were safer. Horrified by the bloodshed. Compromised by the methods. She looked at Mrs. Kang holding Amara, reading her a storybook in Korean, and saw the complexity. This woman was a monster who loved like a human. A murderer who was a grandmother. Evil and love existing in the same broken heart. Thank you, Adanna said quietly when they were alone. Mrs. Kang looked surprised. For starting a gang war? For protecting your family? Finally. I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing this for her. She nodded toward Amara. She's innocent. She doesn't deserve to pay for our sins. None of us do, but we all carry them anyway. Mrs. Kang studied her. I underestimated you. I thought you were weak. Saw your kindness as softness. I was wrong. And I thought you were just evil. I was wrong, too. I'm not good, Adanna. Don't mistake necessity for redemption. Maybe, but you're here. Fighting for us. That counts for something. The gang war raged for 3 weeks. Bodies piled up. The Korean government launched massive raids. By the time the smoke cleared, the Kang organization was decimated. Leaderless, broken. The trials proceeded without interruption. Convictions came down like rain, and Jihoon's family was safe. But safety came with costs. Their faces were too famous now. Amara couldn't go to regular school without bodyguards. Adanna couldn't work at the hospital anymore. Too much liability. Jihoon's business suffered from the association with his family name. They were alive, but trapped in a different kind of prison. We should leave Korea, Jihoon said one night. Start completely over. New country. New names. And abandon everything we've built? Everyone we love? We'd be free. We'd be running, again. They sat in heavy silence until Amara called out from her room. Mommy, Daddy, come look. They went to her bedroom and found her drawing, a picture of their family. But she'd added one more person, Mrs. Kang, labeled Halmoni in careful Korean letters. Are we a big family now? Amara asked. Because Halmoni said she wants to visit more. Jihoon looked at Adanna. She saw the question in his eyes. Could they do this? Could they truly forgive? Could they build something from this much brokenness? Yes, baby, Adanna said. We're a big, complicated, messy family. Good. I like big families. If only she knew, Adanna thought, how much blood and tears it took to build this big, complicated, messy family. Mrs. Kang was released from protective custody a month later. The conditions of her parole required her to report to Detective Park weekly. She got a small apartment in Seoul, far from the family estate that had been seized by the government. She was a shell of her former power, but she was free. She visited them once a week, always bringing food, always speaking Korean with Amara, always maintaining a careful distance from Jihoon, who still couldn't fully forgive her. The dynamic was painful. A family trying to heal from wounds that might be too deep. One evening, after Mrs. Kang left, Jihoon stood at the window, watching her walk to her car with police escort. "Do you think people can really change?" he asked Adanna. "I think people can try. Whether they succeed is complicated. She still scares me. She should. She's dangerous. But so are you. So am I in different ways. We're all dangerous when protecting what we love." He turned to her. "When did you become so wise?" "When I fell in love with a beautiful monster and decided to stay." He kissed her, deep and desperate. "I love you, even when I'm terrified, even when everything is falling apart, even when I don't know how this ends. It ends with us still standing," Adanna said. "That's all we need to know." But standing together was getting harder. Jihoon started having panic attacks. Adanna developed insomnia. Amara started having nightmares about bad men. The trauma was catching up with all of them in ways they couldn't outrun. 6 months into their new normal, things came to a head. They were arguing about something stupid, something small, but it escalated. Screaming, crying, things said that couldn't be unsaid. "Maybe my mother was right," Jihoon yelled. "Maybe we're too different. Maybe love isn't enough. Maybe you're just like her," Adanna shot back. "Scared of anything you can't control. You want to leave. Leave. I'm tired of fighting." "Fine, maybe I will." But neither moved. They stood there breathing hard, years of trauma and fear and love exploding between them. Then Jihoon collapsed, just fell to his knees, sobbing. "I don't know how to do this, how to be normal, how to be enough for you." Adanna dropped beside him. "I don't know either. I don't know how to be soft when I've had to be hard for so long." They held each other on the floor of their apartment, breaking together because they didn't know how else to heal. "I don't want to leave you," Adanna whispered. "I don't want you to go." "But we're both so broken." "Then we be broken together." They stayed like that until Amara found them. Their 5-year-old daughter, who'd seen too much, survived too much, understood too much. She sat down and wrapped her small arms around both of them. "It's okay to cry," she said in her mixed accent. "My teacher says crying makes the sad come out so happy can come in." Jihoon laughed through his tears. "When did you get so smart? I'm 5 now. That's basically grown up." They laughed, the 3 of them in a pile on the floor, their complicated, traumatized, cross-cultural family. Still standing, still together, still fighting. But the peace didn't last. It never does in their world. 2 weeks later, Detective Park showed up at their door, his face grave. "We need to talk." "What happened?" Jihoon asked. "Your mother's apartment was broken into last night. She wasn't there, but they left a message." He showed them a photo, written on Mrs. Kang's mirror in blood. "The debt isn't paid." Adanna felt the cold dread returning. "I thought it was over. I thought the organization was destroyed." "Most of it is, but there's one faction we couldn't touch. An international branch operating out of Tokyo. They just sent word. They're coming for the family. All of you. And they won't stop until every Kang is dead." Jihoon's face went white. "How long do we have?" "Based on chatter we're intercepting, maybe a week, maybe less. Then we run, tonight. Running won't help. They have resources we can't match. Money we can't outspend. Patience we can't outlast." "So what do we do?" Adanna demanded. "Just wait to die." Detective Park looked at them both. "There might be one option, but you're not going to like it. Tell us." "We fake your deaths. All of you. Make the Tokyo faction think they won. Then you disappear. New identities, new lives, new country. We'd never see our families again," Adanna whispered. "My parents in Nigeria. My sisters. You'd be alive to miss them." Jihoon took Adanna's hand. "It's your choice. I'll follow whatever you decide." Adanna looked at Amara playing in the corner. Their daughter, who'd already lost so much normalcy. Could she ask her to lose everything? To become someone else? To live in hiding forever? But could she risk her life on the chance that Detective Park was wrong? That the Tokyo faction would show mercy? "How long do we have to decide?" she asked. 24 hours. After that, we might not have time to execute the plan." After Detective Park left, Jihoon and Adanna sat in silence, the weight of impossible choice crushing them both. Die as themselves or live as strangers. Stay and fight, or run and hide. "What do you want to do?" Jihoon asked. "I want to wake up from this nightmare. I want Amara to have a normal childhood. I want us to be boring and safe and happy." "We've never been boring. Maybe that's the problem." He pulled her close. Whatever we choose together. But together was getting harder to define. That night, while Jihoon slept fitfully, Adanna sat at the window, watching the Seoul lights. Somewhere out there, people were planning her death. Planning her daughter's death. Planning to erase everything she'd built and fought for. She thought about her mother in Lagos, who used to tell her, "Adanna, you have the spirit of a warrior, but warriors must be smart, not just brave." Was running smart or cowardly? Was staying brave or stupid? She didn't know, and the clock was ticking. 24 hours to decide if they lived as themselves or died trying. Adanna picked up her phone. She had calls to make, plans to consider, a future to choose. But as dawn broke over Seoul, one thing became clear. Whatever came next would change everything. Again. Because in Jihoon's world, peace was always temporary. Danger was always one shadow away. And love, no matter how strong, might not be enough to save them this time. The question wasn't if the storm would come, it was whether they'd still be standing when it passed. And as Adanna watched her daughter sleep peacefully, not knowing that her entire life might change in 24 hours, she made a decision. Not to run, not to hide, but to do something that would either save them all or destroy them completely. She picked up the phone and dialed a number she swore she'd never call. The line rang twice before a familiar voice answered in Japanese-accented Korean. "I was wondering when you'd finally reach out." "I need your help," Adanna said, "and I'm willing to pay any price." The voice on the other end laughed, cold and knowing. "Oh, Mrs. Kang, the price might be higher than you can imagine." "Try me." "Very well. Let me tell you about a family debt that goes back 30 years. A betrayal that's haunted 2 countries, and why your daughter's blood is the only thing that can settle it." Adanna's hand tightened on the phone as the full horror of what was coming crystallized. This wasn't just about the Kang family crime empire. This was about something darker, older, more personal, and she just walked them directly into the center of it. If you enjoy this story far, please support by hitting that like button, share this video, and subscribe to Afro Korean Veil for a lovely story like this.